or any smaller than this plant. Look how small that plant is. What's that question you always ask? What's that question I always remind you to ask? What's that question? Oh yeah, where are your branches, baby? Where are the branches?
Okay, here's the situation. The only thing I know that I've done wrong with these is they were under too much light. They were under one of these 4.
They were under too much light. Okay, that's interesting. Wait. They were under too much light. I'm going to say slight too much light. Okay? Just a little, okay? And so here is this plant. And you tell me, here's the plant in the bucket. It's light. It's light. So tell me what you think about this plant. And then we're going to, I really don't want to use the word super crop because they're so small.
Well, they haven't been in veg yet.
Yeah, no, I get it. I'm just saying, maybe top it.
These are bonsai?
They're really small. They seem really like where are the branches? How old are they?
I don't know. They're 3.5 weeks in.
From seed or from clone?
From seed.
Though these are 3.5 weeks from seed.
Just under the little light.
What little light?
Well, then I took it out, and there's two of these bulbs.
So you had 2 4-foots.
Yeah,
You had 2 4-foot T5 bulbs over 2 plants.
There's a few more than that.
How many plants?
Well,
20? 25 plants? That's okay. Were they in this size pot?
no. They just went into that size pot last Saturday.
What were they in?
Solo cups.
Okay. And how far away from 20 solo cups were from that light?
At first, they were close, and then they raised up to like 5 inches. Yeah.
Sorry. The top of the plants to the bottom of the light. How close? Seems really close. So you're saying when they were in the when you started in the solo cup, you had the light close.
Probably 8 to 12 inches.
8 to 12 inches. And then 2 weeks later, how far away was the light? Okay, so the light was the same distance away from the plant over 3.5 weeks.
Yes.
Okay, so just a couple quick, here, see the data points? The light was the same light, stayed the same distance over the plants for 3.5 weeks. Okay.
The first week, there was actually 4 bulbs.
And you started off with 4 bulbs during the first week and then dimmed it down.
Yeah. Took out
Took out 2 bulbs.
Yeah.
Then you went to 2 bulbs at the same distance. All right, comments in all caps. Hang on a sec. Chuck?
Comments in all caps. From the information you just received from the Grow Boss about the 2 plants on the table. And if you already know, let's go to the growboss.com and look at all the fine products up there. Oh, let's hit the thumbs up button. I'll do a little dance. Not gonna make a little love, but we're gonna do a little dance. Need 100 likes, 100 thumbs up, 100 OKs, 100 do your dance chucks. Can we get them? We can do it. I think those plants could be trimmed up a little bit at the bottom there. Those little scragglies too.
You want to trim one?
I'm not touching
I'll trim one. You trim one.
those little scragglies on the bottom.
I haven't touched them at all in a cleaning manner.
Oh, no, I get what you're saying. Do you want, listen, we're going to make like 4 cuts. It's not like we're really going to, you know what I mean? It's not like last couple weeks ago.
Right.
These are the 2 I'm going to put into. This is
We're gonna leave these for you.
our robot, the schooling. This is our segment of schooling too tall. So these are the ones I'm going to bring.
Okay, I'm going to, I'll give you my opinion. After these messages, we'll be right back.
Anyway, thegrowboss.com for all the 5 products on there. Head to thegrowboss.com. Are we going to do something with these 2 plants here today?
Yes.
We're going to clean them up. Turn them into a gold mine. A gold mine. We're going to turn those 2 plants into a gold mine. You have to trellis them up, bamboo stakes, everything. That's what we need to do. And then all the rest of your plants at home too, right? There's more. Are those 2 different strains? I didn't see the other tag on the other plant. And we still need to get rid of this hyperfan, people, and the climate controllers. We're raffling that off along with the solar storm, 880. You need to raffle that off. You need to go to growboss.com. Go down to the, what button is it? To make your, for the bid on the fan and the controller?
The raffle ticket.
The raffle.
The hustle, the hydro hustle.
The hydro hustle. That's what it is. Go to the hydro hustle, buy in on that. You need to get those things on
What?
the table.
I am gonna need
Factor in the way at my store. I need to get those out of here. Come on.
Sure. If you want to stay with that
Buy
nutrient,
raffle
sure.
tickets, we can get those things out of my store because I keep hitting my hip on that solar storm and it's digging into my hip.
It might. It might.
I can do my talent trim.
You could.
That's how
You want to grab scissors?
I usually do it. I'll grab
Let
your
me.
bag.
Let me first offer you this. Because this is literally just the same thing I just discussed with the caller. Yeah, oh, it's always the same thing. There's nothing new. Here's the thing. If you raise your plant with the light, you're always going to be giving the plant the same amount of light, right? If you put the light up and you let the plant grow into it, it gets more and more light. My observation is always this. If 8 inches was the correct amount of light in week 1, then in week 3, 4 bulbs would have been the correct amount of light. Okay? If 2 bulbs were too much light in week 1, then it should have been 16 inches away and allowed the plant to grow up into the space, and as it got bigger, it would have got more light. So what happened is you gave it max light on day 1, you gave it half max on day 2, and it probably, on week 2, and it probably never recovered, and 2, which I think is the right amount, at 10 or 12 inches from the top of the plant, a solo cup, I think 4 lights hurt it, and then you were too close after that.
Well, the reason we were too close is because that's how I got the nickname or the name Too Tall, because the higher you raise the light, the more they grow up. So that's what's confusing. That's why we're here, and that's why we're doing this, so I don't have these confusing things anymore. So now
What I'm saying is, if you were doing the strategy in veg, where you increase the light, then how could you deny that same strategy in pre-veg? And so what you did was you started off in 6th, dropped it down to 4th, never made it down to 1st, and it looks like this because of it.
all right, now you're gonna say that that's why we're a Dr. Boss.
Can we put on the other
You
cam?
will be the only person that ever touches these plants.
Oh, sorry, Chuck. Yeah. No, here you go. I mean, you want that one? You think that one's the camera? Okay, you think that's the camera? Okay, here we go, look.
And then what kind of nutrients do you want to give them? Yeah. How many ppm to what?
Okay, all right. So this is a little micro thing, right? So I'm going to show you what the I'm just going to twist this right here, and I'm going to show you the decision that needs to be made at this point. Okay? Here's the decision that needs to be made. Do you think whatever. Do you think, you know what? I'm going to do this just because I want you to see it better. Do you think any of this is ever going to be anything? Now here's the turning point, right? There's my turning point, right where I turned it, right? Now, look, do you think that can become a new top? Now, if this part right here can become a new top, then these two, this will turn up here. This node right here will come up, and you'll have 3 tops from right here. So all of this would go away unless you think this is going to grow and catch up. Now, I think that this is going to grow and catch up. Oh, did I mean it's going to grow and catch up? Oh, I meant I don't think it's ever going to grow and catch up. There is a problem, and you are never going to grow and catch up. Now, do I believe that, do you believe it with me? Do I believe that this plant stands a better chance now? Yes. Do I believe that those 2 nodes right there stand a chance? Absolutely not. However, I believe that too tall over there would shit a brick if I took these 2 as well. So what I'm what I'm going to suggest is that I'm going to leave that one right there, maybe, whatever. But now I have this, and this. Now, if you want to come over here, can you see those 2 nodes right there? Okay, so now we're approaching the top. So there's 2 nodes right there. See those 2 nodes right there? If I take this top, oh, look at him. There are now 4 tops right here. Do you see the 4 tops? 2 here and 2 here that can come up. Those are, God, they almost look like they're flowering, but it's not. It's those little other things. So there's now 6 nodes here in that section. And now with those 6 nodes, do I believe that bottom node has a chance? Yes. Do I believe that bottom node has a chance? Not compared to that one. I think this node has a much better chance than that node. And so if I were to leave this branch here like this will come up, those 2 nodes will come up, and those 2 nodes will come up. And I'll have 6 tops from a bent branch that you'll have to put something in to hold it, because where I want this plant here to now have six branches this way, where I want this plant to have 6 branches this way, I can't do that if I leave the plant, these 6 nodes here, if I leave the plant in this shape. I must lay it over. And so am I LSTing? Yes, that is an LST technique. That is low stress training, because they're going to give it a little more light, hopefully some mag. Look at that purpling.
I'm going to give it whatever you tell me to give. Now, these are yours now. You tell me how much.
No, I understand. I get it.
How much light, how far, how many watts. I'm there.
Also, clean up your trimmings.
Yeah, well, that's where bugs come from.
Yeah, they love that stuff. We're going to do something different with this guy?
Do you have a?
I just trim it, pop it, call it good. Don't bend it.
Don't bend it. Okay. Okay, so I won't. So I won't bend it. I won't bend it. I think that's smart. Let's just not bend it.
Why are we not bending this one?
We're doing a different type of trim, just a.
I don't know yet.
Okay, that's all right.
Okay, now we got these next.
So what are you thinking next, Chuck?
What are you thinking, sir?
Well, I mean, the only thing left to do would be to go right in here and find the most fimmest fim we can find with 2 nodes, and I think we can probably. Can you see that one right there? Can you see it? It's that one right there. It's that one right there. And so the only.
Cut that off and you'll get 2 branches underneath that one.
Yeah, but you can't just. You sort of. It looks like. I'm trying to see if there's 2 nodes. See, I got 2 nodes. I've got 2 nodes on the one below it. So there's 2 nodes right there. If I take, I don't know if this branch has started the next nodes
There are
yet.
2 nodes right there
There are-
inside here. There's 2 little nodes.
Okay,
down the side of that
so
leaf.
I'm just going to support it, and you can just roll it around a little, just lightly, and then
Oh, my goodness. You don't have talent.
I don't know, but it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter because if it is not 2 nodes, that node will, those 2 nodes will continue. And if there are 2 nodes, then there will be 4 nodes in that space. So we're going to leave them like this. Here's the problem with leaving the plant like this, instead of folding it over like this. You can almost inherently see the problem. So Chuck, you wanted me to top it and lollipop it. There it is. It's topped and lollipop. Compared to this, you can tell. So this versus this, you can tell the difference in growth. Right. So this one will immediately start to bush out, and the top will come up. And this one stands a very good chance of you having in a week to take the top, bend it over, and then the top will come over one and up, and the bottom branches will come up. If those 2 nodes go. So, do you think those 2 nodes are going to go? And if they do, those 2 nodes can only be the ones that come up to the middle because the tops would have to come down. So do you think those 2 nodes will ever catch up? Right, and so the answer isn't yes. The answer is, I don't even think so.
There you go. It's a lollipop.
That's how I got my cat for a silly plant.
Okay, now, I'm just going to ask the same question of this node. Do you think those 2 tiny nodes stand a chance? So you guys are always asking, do I top at the 3rd node, the 5th node? Which node do I top at? How can anybody possibly answer that question? Because not only does every plant tell a different story, I don't know which story you want to be put on. Because you could strip this whole plant down, be left with that, and it just added 2 weeks to the veg, and it'll never be the same again. But you see, my point was the light thing. You put N light on start plant.
Okay, yeah, I'm with you on that.
So all we can do with that input is, and I think that, does that one stand a chance? Yeah, it's got a couple of leaves. That one has its own set of leaves. They directly feed that node. That's what leaves do. So we put a little bend on here. Maybe we go a little further. You know, I feel like I'm watching those. I feel like I'm watching one of those silly videos where those guys are like taking a plant like this and they're punching a hole in it and they've got a twist tie and they're like, listen, hold still, hold the fuck still, hold. How many times do I gotta tell you? And so, you know, they hold it down like this. And I suppose, you know, if you want to get in and do surgery on your plant, you can. But, you know, that's a pretty fall over bend, and suddenly you can see why when we left the second one straight up like this, unless you expose these 2 leaves, and right, they're never going to get it. Now, the whole next trick to this is take these 2 leaves, cross them over, and use them in some way to try to hold the rest of it down. They will unlock. They'll unlock. You can't, I don't want you to lock them and break the leaf, but you come over and this, you tuck this leaf, you get it far enough over, and it'll be 8 hours of one day where not only does one slow down, the other one picks up. And that's really what we're talking about. Because remember, there's that chemical, everyone always talks about the chemical that's in the top, in the apex. And it's like a gibberellin or an auxin. There's great, you know, that's as far as anybody in our industry is a botanist. Gibberellin, auxin, that's it. Smartest one. Yeah. And the more of that chemical the more sugar gets used for growth instead of being transported down to the roots. So roots are sugar stored as starch for long-term storage. Right, so next year she can send a shoot up again. Here in this one, we would take the bottom 2 leaves.
When you're in the starting the seed in the Thunderdome, how far from the top of the dome do you put the light?
The light goes on the dome.
On the dome?
I do this because I take it in and out all the time.
No, I'm good, because that's what I did.
Yes. Again, when you start from seed, we were literally just looking at this picture. You see the dome in the background? Do you see the dome? Look in front of you. See the dome? See how it's rainstorm conditions? Listen, a seed has a root. You don't need any humidity because a seed has a root. A clone does not. So you add a little bit of humidity so the clone doesn't sweat and it lasts a week until it roots. Okay. If you have too much humidity and then you get it too warm, all of a sudden you're Florida. And the air holds a tremendous amount of heat because the water in the air is absorbing the light and it turns to heat. And this guy saunaed his plants. I mean, it's a rare bird, but this was the sauna. He had a heat mat and a dome and seeds and that much humidity.
That's on these.
Stay focused, Boss.
Now, so how many ppms or whatever of magnesium do you want to have between now and next year?
200, you could give it 200 ppm this time.
Okay, and what about
Yeah.
silicone?
Silica really isn't the thing.
Okay.
The thing is, there's so much purple in there. What does purple mean? The lack of magnesium. And on the other half, why is it a lack of mag? Because there's too much. Somebody buzz in. Somebody buzz in. What gets used up in the process of photosynthesis?
Sugar?
Magnesium, that's right.
Magnesium, that's right. Okay, Ellen, thank you. Ellen does that. She jumps in.
Ellen does that? Too much time. But better you should be watching Ellen than hanging out with your plants. Leave them the fuck alone. What I'm saying is,
I wish you would do that more.
I do. I do. I know.
what I'm saying is mag gets used up in the conversion of light into sugar. So the more mag you use, the more light they're getting. So we were talking earlier about too much light. And one of the early signs of too much light is purpling. Then the plants actually they start getting darker green and they're no longer lighter green.
So is that darker green?
It is a little darker green. And it follows that there's purpling in the stalk as well. I'm showing, I did the order, the reason that I'm showing you,
With the magnesium.
sorry, what?
When do you start with the magnesium at this point?
When you go into veg, you start with the mag. The Clonex solution has mag in it. You might have to water 3 times, feed 3 times, instead of twice. You wouldn't necessarily up the nutrients, you would just do it a 3rd time. You must be using mag in veg because that's the whole point of veg, right?
Yeah, no, I
is to
use
convert
mag.
light into sugar.
Yeah, I use
So you're using mag veg all the way into halfway through flower, then you switch from CalMag to mag sulfur. Plant always wants the mag.
That's
Okay?
what I'm doing. I'm doing that. So yeah, no sulfur in veg.
Yeah, because sulfur is part of the ripening agent. When the plant starts finishing, she's starch, sugar, alcohol. That's the pathway as she finishes. And it really still doesn't even matter in terms of the final product.
No, we're gonna give
got
it
a caller.
magnesium.
Hang on, I gotta set him back a sec, Chuck. Hang on. I have the mag picture just so I can illustrate it for you guys. My mic's on.
So what's after magnesium? What's in veg? What's the next nutrient you start giving it?
Cal. That's why Cal Mag are the
that's
first 2 things.
Cal Mag.
The first 2 things you're going to run out of.
Magnesium is CalMag.
Yeah, CalMag's the #1 product. And so here's what I see. Just in this graphic, the mag is purple. So you always want mag. Notice the purple on the bottom. At the end, when your plant is ripening, then you're going to want that sulfur.
That's in the book, huh?
Yes.
Alright, back to the book again. Oh, mag all through the whole process.
Yeah, because mag converts light, is used in the process of converting light into sugar. If you run out of mag, the plant makes less sugar. If you're flowering and it's all about the sugar, then you definitely don't want to run out of mag. And if she's ripening, you need the sulfur for the starch sugar alcohol breakdown. That pathway. You don't need much sulfur.
Okay, no, I'm with
You know what I mean? Whatever's in a bottle of mag sulfur is more than enough.
No, I'm good with that so far.
We've been on that, right?
Yeah, we've been doing pretty good. This is not bad news.
No, all I'm doing for you is I'm tightening the parameters, because I explained the light being the finishing light in veg, and it didn't translate into pre-veg for you. So I've kicked you in the newts now about your pre-veg light. And we talked about the light being too close earlier, and then I backed it up by showing you the purple in your plants.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm
Now they're not dying, but they are turning a little bit darker. And so
that's why when they come out of my root development and go into the veg stage, they look better within a week.
Because they're getting what they're supposed
The
to.
light is way up
And the
here
light is
and
way
it's
up.
turned down.
you're in the zone. You're in the zone. And so that you both kind of said the same thing at the same time. When you're in that zone, now you have a data point. You can work back a little, you can work forward a little, but you need more data points. That's all I'm suggesting, that growing weed is about data points.
If there's one thing we know, is that we don't know anything.
It's that you need to be kicked in the newts over each individual thing. If there's one thing we know, that's what we know.
There's one thing we know, is that we all need to get our
So-
actions together.
so
Because
then-
we're newbies.
Yeah, we're real.
Not anymore.
Not now.
Not really anymore. You guys should be super cropping by now.
Now, it's our third finish.
Oh, really? It's your third finish? Okay, then you're right in the zone. This is a minor thing that you may not extrapolate versus daha.
Yeah, we're just, and then next week, we'll be finishing for the third time.
Okay.
So that's enough. I can't say harvest yet because we're not up to that. So, Cal Mag in veg, and then towards the end, or maybe you start giving it something else in veg, or do you not? You just give it Cal Mag. You don't give it.
Well, here's when you give it something else. If your nutrients are working and CalMag is working and everything looks good, you have to ask yourself, and this is a very real decision. Everything looks good. Could it look better, one, if I adjusted something I'm doing? For instance, I put the light 6 inches closer. Could it look better? The fuck do I know? You know what I mean? Like, what could I know if it looked better? Two, could I add a product that might make it look better? Of course you can add a product that might make it look better. I've got a store full of it. The question is always one of statistics. If I'm at 80%, 85%, I'm not going to put the light any closer. I'm not going to get any more from watering or the nutrients. I'm at 85%, I'm safe, okay? Let's say I'm going to add a hygrozyme now. We have 3 possibilities, sir. What are they?
It could do better. It could do worse or stay the same.
How many of those possibilities are a win for you?
Just one.
Just one. So you stand a 33% chance of improvement.
All right. Well, I was just wondering how we get the nutrients up to like 1,000 ppms if you don't start giving them something in veg to get them used to some kind of nutrient.
Well, they are going to get nutrients in veg. You could do 100 the first week, 200 the second week, 300 the third week, and 400 the fourth week. I don't care what nutrients you're using. I don't care what soil you have. I don't care how much light you have. That number is literally like week 1 and 2 on the bottle put together. And that's if your dumbass isn't feeding twice in a week. Even though your dumbass might be watering twice in a week. You know what I mean?
They're usually on a 5-day schedule in veg.
Okay, what I'm getting at here is, on a 5-day schedule, you're gonna water 6 times in a month. Okay, but there's still 4 weeks. So if we add 100, 200, 300, and 400 ppm, then it's 1,000 over the month. If we take that 1,000 ppm and we divide it over the waterings, so instead of dividing 1,000 ppm by 4 weeks, we divide 1,000 ppm by 6 waterings. Okay? 1,000 divided by 6, 150, 175. Okay? I don't care if you water 175 6 times. That's 1,000. I don't care if you do 350 ppm 3 times once a week, like week 1, 2, and 4, or week 1, 3, and 4. You do have to do something in week 1. Okay? You have to do something in week 1. Okay? Now, we're at 350s. Okay? So at 1,000, I don't care if you do 2 500s. The question you have to ask yourself is, we started at 175. 500 is 3 times more. Can a plant in week 1 handle 500? Okay, yes or no, it's your decision.
Oh, no, I don't like to do that because
So
I
now you definitely can't do 1,000 once. Because if you do 1,000 in the beginning, that's 6 times what the initial discussion was. And if you do it at week 3, let's say you do it at week 3 or 4. What did the plant do for the first 2 weeks? So you can't do 1,000 once. 500, maybe you could do 500 week 3, and you could do, old guy, call me back in a sec, and you could do 250 twice. Remember, we're still talking about 1,000. So you hit him in week 1 with 250, you hit him with week 2 with 250, and week 4 with 500. All I'm saying is, you can't, in the zone of what's reasonable, you can't give them everything in week 1. You can't wait until week 4. If you divide 6 waterings up into 2 feedings, it's like having a 2-speed bike. It's not good as a 9-speed. However, having a 10-speed Tiptronic transmission, maybe so many fucking gears the tranny falls out at 60,000 miles. So 10 gears in a tranny, too much. Low and high, 3-speed on the tree, not enough. 6-speed, pretty fucking good. Manual, maybe 6-speed, whatever in an automatic as well. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to narrow the band such that you are neither black at 1,000 ppm or white at the end or 1,000 at the beginning. I'm trying to get you to understand that there's a scale and a scope. 250, 250, 500. 150, 300, 600.
That part I do pretty well about. Yeah.
I'm just saying that 175 6 times seems like a lot of fucking work to me. And 1,000 isn't reasonable either. So all I'm saying is, in 4 weeks, in 6 waterings, you could hit them with 350 3 times. There's your 1,000. It's not too much at the beginning because it's in the entire bucket. And if you, in week 3, by week 4, they're going to feed on what's in the bucket.
So what we call a unit of water is one.
I don't care about a unit of water.
Okay, that's cool.
A unit of water is irrelevant to me. Don't talk to me about watering until some water comes out of the bottom. That's it.
Okay, that's basically about what happens. It doesn't really even start coming out of the bottom.
Then you didn't water properly.
Okay, we gotta water till it starts.
You just some needs, and you're not doing that for a flush. Listen. How do you know it's clean until the paper comes back clean? There's just hardly any on it. There's just hardly any on it. So how do you know you're not going to get hardly any on it on the next wipe? You don't. So you wipe one more time and you go, Oh yeah, nothing on it. Now it's clean. And so if you just get a little bit of water come out the bottom, you know it's full.
So in 5 days, they start to ask for water, and they all do if they don't get it. Anyway, 5 days.
Okay.
Is not too bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
6 times a month watering. I mean, we got the guys telling you every day, every other day. We're from 15 down to 6. I'm already, you know what? I couldn't be happier for you.
Yeah, and then we don't worry about flour when we get there, because flour, I had a different. That was going on like a 5-day, 6-day deal. But then these, and I thought it was because the last ones, because they were bigger and bushier, and they do look like they're doing a lot better. They, on their own, cut with the same amount of water. They cut it down to 5 and 4 days. And now at the end of 4 days, they want water every 4 days. But they're ready to finish though now too. So I have to go with them with when they say they want water.
If they say they want water, you should probably hit them with water 24 hours earlier.
That's what I just said this morning.
Yeah.
Now, the problem with hitting them with water 24 hours earlier is that you have to ask how many days between waterings. Because it's a mathematical equation here again. It's just straight data mining. It's a weed. Doesn't need to be wet, not a swamp plant, right? It's a weed. If you water every other day, that's 1 day dry for 2 days wet. If you water every third day, that's 2 days dry for 2 days wet. We still don't have more dry days than wet days. So you don't have more dry days until more dry days and wet days, at least 5 days. At least 5 days.
That's the first time that's ever been explained to us.
That's
So
good.
thank you.
But
Yes.
They,
That makes sense. That's why you want to stress them a little bit. You want to get them.
No, you want a bigger bucket so you can water less at the end. Now 4 days at the end, so you're watering every 4th day. So 2 or 3 dry days. At the end, it's over, even if you dried the roots. Who cares? All I'm saying is the plant wants the zone between waterings.
Yeah.
see, I write the time that I water them too down, because I find that, like yesterday, okay, I looked in like 10:30, 11 o'clock, I'm like, huh, it looks like they're gonna need water today. There's just a couple of them. I pay attention, I do some things, I run in, I forget about the water. All of a sudden at 6:30, I come back and check, which is why you always have to check, and all of a sudden, holy moly, they all want water. So that's when I thought, you know what, next time at 10:30, because it happens like this each week, they're regular. That's what I was gonna do, is start watering them at the early time.
It's too close. Again, I'm trying to keep you guys off the edges because it's a weed. I want you guys to get your fingers around the edge so you can see what's possible on the inside.
I just didn't have them because, like I said, I know it is close to the end. They're just acting, they're just needing it more than they did the first part. But all right, no, I understand that. That's good. No, this has been really educational. This is really cool. This is one of our best little
It's funny watching you back away. It's like, oh, he backs away, head down. Got his
powwow, or is that not good?
a powwow.
Can we just have a powwow?
It felt like that.